Beautiful friends, welcome to this quick interview with Sarah from Cerathrive, who I am a huge fan of. We met a couple years ago for the first time at this journey on which we are both on through transformation and biohacking and healthy lifestyle. And we've gotten to know each other a little bit more, and I have nothing but mad respect for you. And today's session is really about, I would love to understand, what is Cerathrive? Where are you coming from with this? Where did the initiation start? As well as just bring it home into red light in general. So I'll pass it to you, Sarah. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. The feeling's mutual for sure. So yes, so this is my new venture, Cerathrive. It's red light therapy. Posh name, transcranial photobiomodulation. So it's really red light therapy for the brain. And I got involved in this probably 5 years ago when I was kind of doing the whole biohacking thing. And actually, I was looking at structured water at the time. But I have a background in neuroscience, and I was kind of looking at structured waters. And, but my focus was always on, okay, well, if the brain is mostly water, how could we maybe use light, which is mainly what people were using to structure water, to actually modify what's going on with our brain. And so that kind of took me down a whole pathway, and I actually discovered there were a lot of researchers who were already doing this. Of course, it's not new. Like photobiomodulation for the brain has been around for a while, and there are some people who have been doing some fabulous research. So I went and got myself on a research trial doing some data collection, because my background really is scientific research. And I saw for myself on a Parkinson's trial actually how amazingly effective the therapy is. I was doing data collection on a double-blind trial, and I could very easily see by the end of 3 months, which of the people were on the sham and which were on the active, really just from how they were responding, how they were interacting, reaction speeds, all kinds of things. And that was it. That kind of got me hooked, because I thought, why isn't this more readily available? And why isn't it easier? The devices that are used in research, big old clunky devices, big old fans going, not very user friendly. And initially, Pavel, I just wanted to use it myself and with people who I was doing a little bit of coaching with. And so that's how it evolved, that I kind of had this device made that is very simple and easy. It's just got, it's battery operated. So you don't have to be attached to the mains. You don't have to kind of have that non-native electromagnetic field at the same time as you're getting your therapy. And I also took into account some of the more interesting research that's happening now about the gut-brain connection. So I also have a gut pad that also irradiates the gut at the same time as the brain, to hopefully to maximize the effects.
It's amazing. And, that's what really attracted me to this, because we travel so much and there is always need for the extra red light. And maybe before we go further, can you just give, the 30-second spiel of why red light is so important, especially in this DNA, for those that maybe are still, not understanding fully what that is to begin with, because I feel like we're one step ahead of red light, movement in a lot of ways.
Yes, I know. And it sounds a little bit bizarre that you can shine light onto your brain and affect all of these kind of brain conditions. But actually, when you think about it, we are really creatures that have evolved under the sun. And it's only relatively recently, like a couple of 100 years, that we've had all this artificial light that's enabled us to lead this more indoor lifestyle. And that's because, as daytime mammals, we're meant to be responding to signals from the sun and ambient lighting. And we're just not getting that so much. And so a lot of what we're doing with red light therapy is substituting the light that a lot of us are lacking, because we're spending a lot more time indoors than we used to. And especially at kind of sunrise and sunset hours, they're the hours that a lot of people tend to miss, because, we have to fit in our lifestyles. We have very specific schedules for work. But actually, it's that sunrise and sunset where you get this long wave, or like red and near infrared light. And that seems to be, through a lot of research, the light that's the most healing. So what we're doing with these red light therapy devices is we're providing red light that you would get from sunrise and sunset, but we're also providing it in a very targeted, specific way, with specific wavelengths that are aimed at certain biological processes. So it's a natural process in a way, because we're not doing anything that the sun's not doing. So it's nothing alien to the body, but at the same time, we're able to package it in a way that makes it more targeted, more convenient, more direct, more biologically available.
Yeah, because from what I understand, and that's another thing that was really interesting, is I think you only have to use it 3 to 5 times per week versus, obviously it all depends on what is your exposure to the light. But I feel like in today's world, we are constantly surrounded by computers and TVs and blue light. I believe it takes the absorption, further away. And so from, science and research, what's the quantity and why is it that we actually, what does it do in our bodies that is so necessary to our everyday function?
So there's probably a lot of ways that light is affecting our health, many different ways. And it depends, which receivers we're targeting. Some of the receivers are in our eyes, some of the receivers is in our blood. The main one that people look at when they're looking at red light therapy is the mitochondria, which is that little organelle inside the cell, or actually they are free floating in the blood also, that's responsible for energy production, for ATP and for cell signaling. So the mitochondria are almost like the sensors that we have in our body that kind of tell our cellular DNA what's going on in the environment, and the body acts accordingly. So mainly the mitochondria is the main target for red light therapy, although as I said to you, I was looking at structured water, and I think probably research is going to find out later down the line that actually the effect of changing the structure of water in the body is also one of the other mechanisms for how this light therapy is working. So there are a lot of biological mechanisms for red light therapy and all the different other wavelengths. But the main takeaway is increased cellular energy, increased blood flow, and cellular signaling. They're the main ways that this red light therapy is having this effect. And this is why it kind of seems a bit like a panacea, like it helps with everything. But that's because it's actually targeting your energy stores. It's targeting blood flow. It's targeting those fundamental processes. And so you're really just kind of upgrading your biology. And then, you can deal with a lot more of the stresses and strains of life and chronic illness and things like that when you've got a lot more energy in the body.
Yeah, and sleep, right? So I think also with being able to be exposed in the light in the right time, in the right matter, we can actually sleep better. I've also been intrigued by the fact that when you compare it to other, let's say red light panels, what I love about your product is you're using frequency, added to this, and also pulsation, right? There's a different wavelengths that you are using. What would you say what is the main reason for that? And have you done different research on the impacts of each frequency?
Yeah, the frequency part is very interesting because one thing is getting light into the body. And so we know we can get light into the body and we can hit those targets. It's not so easy to get it to the brain, actually. You only get about between 1% and 3% of the light that you shine in gets to the surface of the brain. But what we do know is that we can influence how the brain is oscillating by pulsing the light. So, for example, we know that certain frequencies like 10 hertz or 40 hertz seem to have an effect on certain brain functions. Certainly things like the ability to focus, which leads on to memory, the ability to kind of maintain a calmness, all of those things. Your brain is kind of oscillating at a certain frequency that we can in effect entrain with the red light. And there are some other interesting stuff. One of the frequencies is the meditation frequency, which is 100 hertz. And the reason that I put that in there was research coming out of actually using ultrasound. Was the first study that found out that these very high frequencies, 100 and 200 hertz, seems to have an effect on meditation and being able to maintain a meditation for longer. That is a really interesting field. Is one, we need to get the light to give the energy to the brain. Once we've got the energy to the brain, can we actually help the brain come into more healthy states by changing the frequency? And of course, I'm talking about single frequencies there, 10 and 40, but actually in our device, the brain doesn't work like a metronome. The body doesn't work in a very ordered way. So we're doing it in a kind of a disordered, random way so that it makes it, makes more sense to the body. But yeah, the frequency information is kind of an added layer on top of the already healing effects of the red light.
Yeah, no, and it's funny. Yesterday I just finished filming, these 10-minute meditation breathwork drop-ins, and it's so funny because for me, right, like I take a new discovery and then I want to test it, try it, use it, and I've been using your product since June, since basically you gave it to me, and it's been with me, around the world. And what I found is my morning ritual is everything. So when I wake up, I do my breathwork, meditation, sound, frequencies. And I've been already using, alpha or gamma brainwaves in a binaural format. But now if we also have light, we've got sound, we've got, vibration. That's something that also I love to include. We're kind of targeting, this new age of, instead of taking pills, we do a red light that will cause all of these amazing things in our body. What I wanted to say is, when you've been on this ride, how long has it taken you before you realized that you're onto something? And just, curiosity, what is next for you? Where do you want to take this?
Yeah, well, as I said, it was probably 2018 where I first got involved in the data collection for that trial on Parkinson's, where I thought, no, this is something that needs to be out. It's actually criminal that people who have got all kinds of brain issues don't have access to this, or people don't know about it. So that was the start of it. And since then, I've met all kinds of interesting people who are doing all kinds of, like yourself, interesting things with frequency, interesting things with sound, interesting things with breath work. So ultimately, you're right. Every time you kind of stack your hacks or kind of add something, into your arsenal that you can use that elevates you a little bit, I'm all for that. I'm all for a holistic approach. So actually right now I feel like now got the product that I wanted. So I've got the device, which it's very cool. It enables us to use 4 different wavelengths, all kinds of different pulsing. It enables us to target the gut. So the next level on from that is, okay, how can we really maximize the efficacy? How can we give people brain coaching and brain training, which is really going to allow them to kind of go from where they are to optimal or maximized? So that's, for me, it's always a constant learning. Very excited to see what happens as, different people get involved and as things develop.
Yeah, absolutely. And, what I found actually the biggest differences is when I'm traveling, if I have a jet lag, or if I have a brain fog in the morning and I use, alpha, specifically the focus one, it's really cleared my head. And so what I love about this is, it's not just, a lot of times when I'm at the red light panels, I wouldn't really feel anything after. And I think part of it is the absorption, and maybe the other part is, how far, close. It's tough to know. When I do have an issue, right, in the day, and I'm not at my best, it actually really turns the day around, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And one of the things that I like best is this whole thing about sleep. I know you mentioned it. For me, that's the biggest thing, because it really is very noticeable. And I think it's because, sleep is such an energetic process, and we forget about that. We think that we're just going to crash out and go to sleep. But actually, to sleep well, you need a lot of energy. Your brain is actually active during sleep. So yeah, that's the best thing for me. But yes, it's great to hear that you're using it like that. That's fabulous.
Amazing. Well, so for everybody that's listening, this is something that we're so excited about. We're all in. We're supporting Sarah and Cerathrive to basically bring it to the world, so people understand that they don't have to have anxiety, they don't have to have depression, they don't have to have a lack of energy. It's all in our hands. And if you want to learn more, please go on our website, set up a consultation with one of our team members that can help you understand in much more depth, especially if you have any questions. And Sarah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Sarah Turner, the CEO and co-founder of Cerathrive and the inventor of the CERA System. Today, I'm excited to introduce to you our revolutionary red light technology that harmonizes the gut-brain connection. It's essential to read the user manual before you begin. Not only does it contain all the technical information, but it also has some really cool graphics to help you understand what's going on with the red light therapy. The CERA body panel is designed to be worn across the abdomen, and it simply attaches using a Velcro strap. But here's the exciting part. By targeting the area over the microbiome, we aim to create a better environment and also target the vagus nerve to help harmonise that gut-brain connection. The CERA Headband is an incredible innovation in neurotechnology. It contains 4 wavelengths of light: 630, 850, 940 and 1070 nanometers. We've optimised these wavelengths to target all of the receptors in the brain. The longer the wavelength of light, the deeper the penetration onto the brain's surface. The CERA Headband also has 4 separate target sites, 3 at the front and 1 at the back, and we also use oscillations or pulsing technology to deliver the most therapeutic range of light. The entire system is app controlled and allows you to choose from 6 preset programs depending on your health goals. Once you've made your selection, you have the option to disable the Bluetooth function on the headset. The battery is totally shielded to remove any unwanted electromagnetic effects. Now it's time for you to experience the healing benefits of the CERA system for yourself. Get ready to harmonise your gut-brain connection. And if you've booked a coaching call, we look forward to seeing you very soon, or you can check the website for more details.